continued learning is one of the key characteristics of all elite successful people, and it never ends. You take that to the grave. Most people go to high school or they'll graduate from college, and then they consider the learning part of their life over, and it's just the beginning.
All right, it's Coach Micheal Burt. Welcome back to the Greatness Factory Level 10 studios here for my podcast called America's Coach. We have some real talent running through the Greatness Factory today. You never know who's going to be at the Greatness Factory every day. And just had an incredible interview with Rob Luna, who was one of our presenters. And I'm excited to spend some time with Jerry Freishtat.
Right.
Am I saying it right?
Freishtat.
Freishtat.
Yeah, there you go.
It's interesting spelling.
Yeah.
But Jerry, I actually met Jerry, who's been a successful business owner, built and sold a company, done a lot of really cool things, and now you're going into the business of coaching kids with the First Confidence Factory.
That's correct.
And if you ask me, all the ideas that we talk about, like at the Greatness Factory, or I see. Yesterday, I took my son to boxing. He's 4 years old. It's like cardio, and I'm observing, and I'm watching, like, what do they teach him? Are they teaching him confidence, or is it just physical? I really see this being a big concept, and what we're talking about is a confidence factory in Maryland, and you're the first licensee of that confidence factory. Why is this timing right for you in your career, and why do you want to do this?
Yeah, it's kind of natural progression from, being an entrepreneur for 40 years and, everything I've learned over the past, 30 years or so. I've been studying, elite successful individuals. And it really led to me when I sold my last company. I had some time on my hands. I wrote my book called Run with the Cheetahs, which is essentially about living an extraordinary life. Yep. And that, again, led to this natural progression of, what's next on the horizon. And the greatest gift, I think, is to be able to teach what you learn. Right. And so it's time to do that. It's the financial part's in place, and that now we can work on doing good things in the world.
And I'm sure there's no telling how many people. You don't know how many people come up to me and say, I always wanted to do something with kids, but I'm in this job, or they say I always wanted to be a coach, but I'm doing this, right? And I believe confidence is the one thing that affects everything. Yep. Okay, and you sent me something one day. 64% of students lose their confidence by middle school, and then you follow that up with another stat was by high school. Does that continue to grow?
Yeah, it's close to 90%. Wow. My wife's been a high school educator for 27 years, and in the last couple of years, her job has become very, very difficult from the standpoint of, and these were her words when we were just discussing this the other night. She said the kids that are coming into high school are hopeless. Wow. They have no outlook, no vision, no dreams or goals, and the teachers are having a very difficult time and trying to regain some confidence in them to get them moving in the right direction. Yeah. So and I think all that's caused from the progressive type policies we've implemented over the last several years, and the lack of accountability. The world of abundance is part of the problem, and and a lot of parents just don't have the education and home family culture that a lot of us for my generation grew up with.
Yeah, and they don't have the time or bandwidth. Right. I was a high school women's basketball coach, and we averaged spending 5.5 hours a day with those players. Yeah. Now you show me a family that spends 5.5 hours a day with their kids at home. Right. Now it's and with kids going different places, it's amazing for us to be able to sit down and have a dinner together. Yeah. Right? And one kid's going this way, and one kid's my 2-year-old started school today, so today was her first day at Montessori school. Yep. And I look at what we did as a basketball coach. I look at what they do at Montessori, where they teach kids at 2 years old how to make eye contact, how to walk into a room, how not to interrupt a conversation. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So the Confidence Factory is a physical location. And the reason this is important, because we've tried online learning. My daughter was in an online school. She wanted to travel with me for a year. Yep. And they were great people, actually good friends that founded that school. And I really think it could work for maybe older kids, but my daughter couldn't pay attention.
Yep.
She couldn't stay focused for 30 minutes. She couldn't capture some of the concepts. She needed that. And she come to us at the end of the year and said, I need to go back to school. So the physical locale of this is, think of, if you take your kids to karate, if you take them to basketball practice. My daughter has one-to-one gymnastic training. I'm thinking this should be something that parents take their kids to, and they get instruction. Now, what do they get instruction on is the question, because there's nobody in the world doing this.
That's right.
So talk a little bit about the type of curriculum you're going to be teaching at the Confidence Factory.
Well, the curriculum is covering, a wide variety of, success factors, from, one of the biggest things that kids have a tough time with is understanding failure. I mean, failure is just an opportunity to learn.
Right.
And most kids, and I can vouch for this myself, I played golf at the University of Maryland, and, when I run into tough times and wasn't playing well and everything else, I viewed failure as failure, like there was something wrong with me. And the reality of it is that I just didn't have the right mentor or coach, to steer me in the right direction. Mm-hmm. To understand that, okay, well, that didn't work, so let's try another way. Let's get into a different type of learning. Sometimes it's knowledge that you don't have. There's all types of things, but we're going to be doing live, in person. It's going to be more like a coaching style program in the courses that we do. And if you could just imagine, being in the locker room,
Yep.
which is one of your programs, if you're in the locker room and a great coach that gives a great talk in the locker room has kids' attention.
Right.
And they'll get short-term motivation out of that, whereas mine's going to be a combination of, giving some short-term motivation, but it's also going to be the ability to gain knowledge about a variety of components about what you need to do to be successful in life. The old saying that learning begins when schooling ends.
Right.
Right.
Well, I define coaching as engaging people instead of systematic behaviors.
Right.
Right, that allows them to do something tomorrow that they cannot do today.
Yep.
So to me, the Confidence Factory is going to have an incredible curriculum based on my content, based on your content, and we're going to amalgamate that content and be able to share that. But it's literally, you're going there to build on each other. So think of it as you take your child to the Confidence Factory, they're going to be learning habits of the top 1% of performers. They're going to be learning how to communicate. They're going to be learning how to speak, how to make eye contact, right? Gifts, talents, all these things is what they're going to be learning. And that'll be in short bursts of courses or coaching sessions that'll be, 40 minutes to an hour?
We're planning on an hour to like an hour and 15 minutes at this point. We have it set up with a little bit of a sports theme done in seasons, and each season is 4 courses. And the total initial program will be done in 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, and I think, okay, if you look right now at your kids, I have 3 kids.
Yep.
I have 2 girls that are hard to handle.
Right.
These girls are strong-willed, little miniature Coach Burts, right?
Yep.
And I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I have this son who's just the sweetest, nicest. He'll just look at me and go, "I love you, Dad." Right. He's like, if you look at him wrong way, he'll start crying. I mean, he's just so sensitive and sweet. And my girls are so tough. And one day we're eating breakfast, and everybody's right there eating breakfast, and my 2-year-old daughter looks at my 4-year-old son, and she just punches him right in the face because she's tough.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, my 12-year-old needs to learn how to regulate her emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when she doesn't get what she wants.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
My son needs to get tougher physically and mentally and emotionally, right? Now, with the 2-year-old, who knows?
Yep.
But when I look at them, then, Jerry, here's what I do. Who could help them? Okay, now let's just think about this question.
Right.
If I go, I'm not saying they need therapy.
Right.
I'm saying they need coaching.
Right.
Okay. So then it's like, where do I take them?
Yep.
I'm living in the 16th fastest growing city in the United States. Okay, 30 minutes from here, called Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Right.
Type in who can coach your kids. Just, I mean, type it in, Google it.
Yeah.
There is nowhere to take them.
That's correct.
So there's therapy, and we've called therapists to help with our daughter just on her. Then we can't get a therapist to call us back. It's like, do we really want her going to therapy? Then it's like, okay, she's cheerleading. She has a coach, but the coach is not teaching her everything.
Yep.
There's nowhere for her to go.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a problem for me. I'm their dad.
Yeah.
Although I'm a top performance coach. They look at me like, hey, you're dad. So when I'm thinking about the Confidence Factory, we know that kids, because you've done a lot of research on this and I've done a lot of research on it. Kids, there's one book called The Anxiety Generation. They have more anxiety than ever.
That's correct.
There's more feelings of rejection because of social media, more isolation, more bullying, more all these things.
Yep. And
there's nowhere for them to go.
Yep.
So when I'm thinking Confidence Factory, if I had one in my city, my kids would be going there, right?
Yep.
So they're going to go there. They're going to be coached by an entrepreneur. Now, this is very important because there's teachers, and nothing against teachers, because your wife has been in the teaching system.
Correct.
I was a high school teacher.
Yeah.
And then there's entrepreneurs, but there's not a lot of teachers that are entrepreneurs.
Right.
So let's talk about how that is different for these kids that are going to the Confidence Factory.
Entrepreneurs understand the game. I mean, there's a course called A Million to One or A Million to None, and essentially what that's about is that you got to take your shots.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what the odds are. If you do enough of the right things over an extended period of time, eventually something good's going to happen. So that 1,000,000 to 1 doesn't stay 1,000,000 to 1.
Right.
You just keep repetitively come back. We also have a program. One of the early courses is called The Foundation, and that's based on persistence, accountability, reliability, responsibility, resilience, and discipline. Yeah. And again, these things are not taught in school, right? So we're going to work with them individually in their individual situations, what they're going through, what's going on with their friends, what's going on at home, and figure out ways to build the kids' resilience and get them to feel better about themselves. At the end of the day, this is what I've always said: the most important thing in life is waking up in the morning feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit of selfishness to do that.
Yep.
And you have to have the ability to have open mind to gain consistent knowledge about different things to build that inner core that it takes over time to do that. And that's kind of why the program is essentially 20 courses long, because it's not something that you click your fingers and it's done. Right?
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking about the coaching that a child needs. A lot of parents come to me when the child is, I can't tell you how many times I get this, Jerry. My kid's 25 years old. He's got no motivation. He's got no real discipline. He's bounced around from job to job. He's not making any money. Yep. He's sleeping on our couch.
Right.
If I've heard that once, I've heard it 1,000 times.
Yep.
Here's what they say to me: which book that you wrote would be good for my kid? Yeah. And I'm like, well, the book's not. we're a little down the line here, okay?
Right.
Reading one of my books is not going to change that kid's life. It may open his mind.
Yep.
So in some ways, what I think we're trying to do with the Confidence Factory, I'm going to use a very strong word here. We're trying to future-proof these people from failing.
Yeah, we need to get them out of the sheep mentality.
Because our generation can look at these people and go, they don't have an emotional toughness. They don't have this. They don't have this.
Yep.
Okay. If we could instill this in young people at an early age, like the kids that played for me, they had emotional toughness, mental toughness. Yeah. They didn't come like that.
Right.
They got that way after 4 years with me.
Yeah.
And listen, in those days, if we lost on Friday night, Jerry, I'd have them in at 4:30 in the morning on Saturday morning. Yeah. It was tough. Okay.
Yep.
We had something called Red Dawn, which was 14 days of almost pure hell with me at 4:30 in the morning. Right. These are high school kids.
Yeah.
The parents had to bring them.
Yep.
So they was like, what is that dude doing?
Yeah.
And then when they saw how tough we were, right? Because emotional toughness, right? So we look at it, the Confidence Factory is there's a physical component, there's a mental component, there's an emotional component, there's a confidence component. That makes a whole person.
Right.
You have a son that's 30, How old is?
My oldest is 37.
Okay, 37 years old.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and he's doing some work with us
Yep.
with raising capital, things like that.
Right.
But I could tell the first time I met him,
Yep.
looks good, talks good,
Yep.
been through some adversity,
Yep.
but I'm like,
and he was an elite athlete as well.
there you go.
Right, yeah.
So I could look at him the very first time and go, okay, it didn't take me long to figure out this kid knows how to win.
Yep.
Okay, what kind of advantage does he have, right?
Yep.
By looking good, talking good, showing up, being an athlete, having a discipline. So it doesn't take 37 meetings with him to go, he could help us.
Yeah. I've got a course called Embrace the Battle.
Okay.
And it's the counterintuitive nature of pain and suffering
Yeah.
and what's on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody that's ever achieved anything worthwhile in life has gone through some serious pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And they're programmed more today by the education system and the way things have been the last 15, 20 years, that everybody's looking for that easy path. And it creates soft kids.
Right.
And, again, it's counterintuitive, but, if you want to do, if you want to be an extraordinary person, you got to do extraordinary things. And doing extraordinary things is hard. So we're going to be teaching that, and we're going to, again, get each person engaged in something that of what they pick or what they choose to do, and we're going to track it, and we're going to get them, working on something that's not easy. It's our brains are wired to just do the easy thing because back from our caveman days or whatever, we're just designed to survive.
Right.
And when you get in the world of abundance and survival is easy, it's easy to take that easy path.
Right.
But the easy path is the weak path.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Well, and I like that. I wrote down easy path. Easy paths create soft kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was going back to something that I was thinking about earlier. When a mom and dad comes to me and says, my kid doesn't have a prey drive. I hear you talk about prey drive, Coach. It's that instinct. I've read your book. My 12-year-old kid has zero prey drive.
Yep.
All they want to do is play video games. All they want to do is do this. They don't have any discipline. They don't have any manners. They don't have, right? What can we do with them? Well, the first thing I ask is, do they have someone coaching them other than you?
Right.
Do they have a mentor? Do they have a coach? I say, well, they got a coach, but he's not very good. And there's a lot of there's actually more bad coaches than there are good coaches in the world, right?
I agree with that.
And so who's coaching your kid is more important than who the president of the United States is.
That's correct.
Because who's coaching your kid is have more impact and more influence.
Yeah.
So the confidence factory is going to be it could be a primary tool for some kids.
Right.
Now the reason I say this is because I coach kids that were inner city. They didn't have a lot, okay, but they had me.
And they were probably hungry.
That's right, and they were hungry.
That's right.
And I supplied the discipline, the structure. Yep. Okay, so I feel like the confidence factory could be for a lot of kids, number one, but it also could be for busy parents. My kid has these missing structures. I'm going to take my kids to confidence factory. We're going to send them back better. We're going to send them back more confident, more focused, skills, tools, and it could be the difference in changing their whole everything.
Right.
Like it really could change the game for the kid.
Yeah, it's all about action. I mean, it's not what you think, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids talk a good game in there.
Right.
But it's part of my book. I have this whole thing about you got to be in the game. Standing on the sidelines is not going to help you. Yeah. So that grit and resilience has to be built through experience.
And it could technically, a whole team could come in. Like if a football team said, Jerry, we want to send our team.
Right.
It could be, hey, we're going to send you 5 of our players that need confidence.
Yep.
Right? It could be individual parents that say, my kid needs these things. Right?
Yep.
So it could be any or all of those things.
Right.
Because I see where we're going initially with this is because I get requests to come in and work with teams. Come in and work with the football team. Come in and work with the basketball team. Come in and do the other day I was at a college basketball game and the guy's like, I'm going to take over as head coach. At some point I want you working with my team.
Yep.
Right? And I'm going to go in and do prey drive, confidence, all of that stuff.
Right.
Toughness. And so the Confidence Factory, I feel like, is individual kids, groups, send all of your kids. What ages are we going to start with?
We're starting out with basically high school,
Okay.
14 to 18.
Yep.
And I do have relationships with a lot of elite personal trainers that work with youth. So, one of the secondary courses that we plan on having in the future is going to be, I'm going to steal your term, the locker room.
Yep.
And the locker room will incorporate not only the mental side of sports, but they'll have the options to engage with these high-level trainers as well.
Yeah.
And we also have plans to have an entrepreneurial course.
Yep.
We're also going to teach, money management, how to manage your assets, things that, a lot of people literally just find this out at random times when they're 40 years old.
Absolutely.
And it's too late. Right?
Yeah.
So I think
So it's one place
Yep.
where we are in the business of manufacturing confidence, manufacturing greatness.
Yep.
So when you think about, we're here at the Greatness Factory, we had all kinds of entrepreneurs here today. We had Rob Luna, who sold a very successful business. We had a coaching session on Pray Drive. We've got people who are looking for a seat at the bigger table. The concept is, what can we do for kids?
Right.
That's really what people ask me. Here's the interesting part. Everybody talks about how the education system is broken. The kids are not tough enough today.
Yep.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And as listen, I'm old school, man. As an entrepreneur, like, I want people that come with batteries included. They know how to show up. They know how to look like somebody.
Right.
I don't want to manage that behavior. So, you see, I got people on my team from the military.
Yeah.
I got people on my team that had a rough life. I've got people on my team that have been part of building 8-figure companies, because I don't want to. That is what every employer wants.
Yeah, speaking of the military, the best book that high school kids could read is David Goggins'
Yep.
Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
There's a part of that book that, again, I'll be teaching all this. It's about callousing your mind.
Yeah.
We all talk about physically, callousing our hands,
Right.
a weightlifter, or the balls of a feet of a marathon runner. But really, your mind, most of us only use 40%. And then we think that that's our maximum effort when it's just getting started.
Yeah.
And that's a concept that we'll try to get people to push themselves a little further than what they think they're capable of.
When we would push players as a basketball coach, they were young ladies, and sometimes they would break down and start crying, and sometimes my assistant coach was coming and go, "Coach, that's enough." And I would go, "Let them fight through this."
Yeah.
On the other side of that is a deeper intimacy with their potential.
Correct.
That little breakdown is just saying, "I've never been pushed like this.
Yeah.
I've never worked like this."
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. It's natural. It's
Yeah.
emotional.
That's right.
I'm going to break through it. But if they never get pushed to that level, what happens the first time the boss is critical of them?
Yep.
We're seeing, and this is a stat I haven't shared with you, that 18 to 30-year-olds are changing jobs as many as like 20 to 30 times.
Yeah.
So they get into a job and they got to show up on time. They don't like the boss. They don't like the coworker beside them. They don't have emotional toughness. Okay, when I say future-proof them from failing, what I'm saying is, I think if I lived in Maryland, okay, I'm busy. I'm traveling around the country. I'm going to send my kids to you. You're going to get them you're going to toughen them up.
Yeah.
But you're going to toughen them up mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, you're going to get them ready. When they come back to me, it's like, all right, man, what's happening? And then what's going to happen is I'm going to start telling other parents.
Yeah.
If your kid's not going to the Confidence Factory,
Right.
this is one place to manufacture your confidence.
Yep.
You're a big believer, and we'll kind of end with this, in coaching. You've been in coaching programs.
Correct.
You've been coached by some of the best people in the world.
Absolutely.
Right? I can say that because I'm one of them.
That's right.
But you've been in rooms with and you still are seeking out. You've sold a business. You've been very successful. You've written your own books. But you understand the power. So what does a coach mean for you? Why do you keep doing that? What does the coach bring? Because I want to draw a correlation to what you're going to bring for these kids and why people need to stop what they're doing when they're watching this. So we're talking about a Confidence Factory for kids. Our first one is opening up, and it's in Frederick, Maryland.
Right.
Am I saying that correct?
Yep, correct.
And I'll be going there in just a few weeks in February and seeing the lay of the land, and it's going to be a physical structure. You're going to go to the Confidence Factory, but you're getting coached.
Yep.
Why do you have a coach?
Well, continued learning is one of the key characteristics of all elite successful people, and it never ends. You take that to the grave. I mean, as a matter of fact, you introduced me to Price Pritchett's books, and I think it's some of the best stuff I've ever seen. Here I am at 65 years old, and it's like an awakening, right? You have to continue to do that. And if you don't continue to do that, you'll notice in your life that you'll hit these dips and you'll hit these periods of time. A lot of times it's years till you get back on track. But, like I said, most people go to high school or they'll graduate from college and then they consider the learning part of their life over. And it's just the beginning.
And that's really what we want to instill in those kids early, right? I read my first book at 18 years old from Stephen Covey because one of my coaches, I went to a coaching clinic, it was free, and the coach said, if you don't read another book this year, pick up a copy of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Because he said to do it, I did it.
Yep, exactly.
And that changed everything for me.
It also gets back to the thing about the 3 levels of knowledge is what you know, what you don't know, and what you don't know, you don't know. Well, 90% of everything is in what you don't know, you don't know. So why not keep learning?
Well, I'm excited about this. I know you got a lot of passion for it. We're gonna get in there and we're gonna get this thing going, man. We're gonna try to get. The first thing is we got to get parents to go, okay, I'm taking my kid to this. Once they get in there and see it, taste it, and go, this was good.
Absolutely.
This is good. Then we're going to tell other people about it. There's all kinds of packages that we'll have for people if you've got a team that you want us to work with or if you got individuals. So where can people go to find out more information? And obviously we're building a lot of this stuff, so when it's out.
You can go to confidencefactory.org. That is being built this week. Okay, so probably not till Monday would be a good time to go there. You can also feel free to just contact me directly. I'll just give you my cell number. It's 301-502-5473. Be glad to chat with you. Or we could jump on a Zoom, whatever you prefer.
And we'll be doing some activation events in that area, inviting some people. And I actually believe one of the things I wrote down for you that I think would be a great feeder system for you is business coaching for the adults. And the adults bring the kids. Okay? Because I can see you doing mentoring for the adults based on buying and selling, building a business and selling a business, and the parents say, I want my kids going to your Confidence Factory. To me, that's going to be a great marketing, a great use of your talents and your skills. Because I know, because I'm a coach, I want my kids being coached. I'm a businessman, I want my kids to know business.
I mean, I think that the entrepreneurial families will be more enticed, to a program like this. But it's for everybody. I mean, we actually plan on having a couple of, spots in each class, for scholarships for underprivileged kids that might not be able to afford the course or something like that. So we have all types of things in the plans to make this work for everybody.
So I was just interviewing Rob Luna, who really is one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. But he's got double degrees. He went to Wharton. He went to UCLA, Berkeley. Okay. He's got a lot of advantages. Okay. And as a parent, you want your kids to have a tool set and a skill set that can get them in any room in the world. Okay. If they don't have that skill set, it's very hard to go back at 35 or 45 years old and build this skill set.
That's right.
Okay. I look at people today and go, that person's got a big engine. They got a lot of drive, but they don't have the sophistication. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the know-how. Okay, that's going to put that person at a disadvantage later in life. There's certain things called foundational regrets. Dan Pink talks about this in a book called The Power of Regret. And one of the biggest regrets people have later in life are things that they should have learned earlier in life. What to do with money. And they call them foundational regrets. And I think kids don't know that they'll have these regrets later in life if they don't get these right skills. They're just going along about their life being a kid. It's the parent's responsibility to go, you're going to this. Right? Like my daughter didn't know she wanted to go to private coaching on Saturday morning because it was 8 a.m. in the morning. Right? And I'm like, no, you need to go to this. You don't not need to go. Well, when she was done, I'm like, this is how you build discipline. Inconvenience. Right? What if he says it's 6 a.m. in the morning? Are you not going to go just because you'd rather sleep? So here's what I ask her. Would you rather sleep on Saturday or would you rather be a cheerleader at the University of Tennessee?
Right.
And if you'd rather be a cheerleader at the University of Tennessee than just get a few extra hours sleep, then you need to go to practice.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, Dad. But what if I would have said, like most parents, okay, sleep in, it's not a big deal.
Yep.
See, I'm enabling her.
Yeah.
So we're going to be teaching a discipline, a structure, habits of the top 1%. This is going to be, I think, disruptive because there's nothing like it. It's going to be a supplement to the school system,
Yep.
supplement to athletics, but it's going to be a great thing. So
Yep.
I'm excited about
I
this.
agree. Look forward to it.
All right, coming in 2025, we're here, folks. The next few weeks, this thing's going to be opening in Maryland, and you can learn more information. Or if you just want to talk to Jerry, you can reach out to us. We can connect you to him. info@coachburt.com. The Confidence Factory Physical Structure. We're going to engineer kids for success. It's going to be an incredible experience for your kids, and I suspect that we're going to have these all over the country before it's over. Thank you, Jerry, for being our first one, and it's going to be a major success.
Yep. Awesome being here. Appreciate it.
All right. God bless you. Coach Micheal Burt, another edition of America's Coach Podcast. You can listen to all of these where all podcasts are played. You can go to my YouTube channel. I've got some of the most talented people in the world. I do believe everybody needs a great coach in their life. Thank you for letting me be yours.